right, so I obviously love your answer, and I have a follow-up question to the answer you just gave. And this is a question that I like to ask all of the div leaders, just all of the leaders in general. It's how do you encourage innovation and creativity within the community now that you're at a higher rank? How do you make sure that all of the members are being as active as they can be and being as creative as possible?
That's a great question.
This is my favorite question of the entire podcast.
Ooh, okay. So, whenever you're going through the ranks, right, and you start off with the cadet, right, and you get your trainings, you get your hosting 101, right, and you're finally hosting your new game night. That's your first opportunity for quote unquote creativity, right? It's your first chance to finally show the squad what you're capable of in a sense of leading, directing, and hosting, right? And and honestly, that's the very first start. That is the absolute, like, the initial part of quote unquote creativity. Now, that's gosh damn, this is a hard question.
That's your one bad word pass. No more. I'll allow it this time.
Okay. All right, my fault, my fault. In a topic of people having a voice, when we have these sit downs with the officers and all of our leaders, right? And I obviously say that everyone has a voice. They can speak like their opinion on what they want. And on that creativity part, it's for them to finally express like what the members and the people want, right? And and how can like myself as a division leader make sure that everyone has a creative mind? Now, me personally, like as a division leader, I can only delegate. And whenever we have these sit downs, it's absolutely 100% my responsibility to make sure that delegation is a thing. So whenever the squad leaders, right? Whenever the squad leaders sit down with the squads, like in the squad meetings, and they talk about these things, like what they want to host, what they want to do, it's for the squad and the community. This is a hard fucking question, man.
Sheesh, my bad.
You stumped him. He's speechless.
It's rare you get 7 to be speechless.
Honestly, he's the first leader to be speechless with this question. Usually they've been rapid firing it off. I like the thought behind it though, versus a quick response like off the whip. It's a very thought-provoking question.
Yeah, very true.
We'll come back to this question. I need some time to think about it.
Wow. All right. So chef, take
Fair
note.
enough.
We need to circle back.
Yes, we'll circle back on that question. Absolutely.
So my question is more from a developmental, Lord, I swear I can talk, standpoint. You did say that you came from a background of leaders. Would you say that you're able to exercise your leadership skills here by a way of being able to hone them a little bit and just kind of practice a little bit of what you already know?
If I wasn't able to use what I was taught at a young age, excuse me, I probably honestly wouldn't be as successful as I am today. One thing that what I used back then is the part of delegation. If you're always micromanaging and you're always like just on people's butts about everything, everyone's probably gonna hate you. To be honest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you have to trust your leaders. You have to trust the people under you to make these thoughtful and decisive decisions. You know?
Yeah.
And another thing is, it sometimes people hate it, I know, but it's my authoritative, mindset. I'm like kind of like passive aggressive. You know what I'm
Lord.
saying? But not everyone sees that about me, but it's mainly like the squad leaders and above that really see that side of me, and I hate it. But also, if I don't do it, then is anything really going to be done? Because if you don't have that authoritative you know mindset, then everyone's just going to take advantage of you, and it's just nothing's going to get done because no one's going to take your word at all. They're just going to do whatever they want to do. But if you have that mindset and you have that will to take accountability for your actions, then people will actually come to realize that that is something we need, and that is something that myself rising through the ranks have learned really well to deal with. Because to be honest, like if I didn't use any of the things that I've learned back then, then I definitely wouldn't be here at all.
Yeah.
But on the topic of that, right, I had to adapt because obviously this is not a military. This is not a military freaking community. It's a gaming community. So I had to kind of equalize from what I've learned to adapting it here. So yeah, I mean my leadership skills back then definitely helps now.
It seems like you also walk a line of, like you said, you're adapting. So you're, applying what you know and also building off of that, molding it to fit the situation. And that's always something about most leaders that you don't see being very fluid. And they're not able to walk that line or be flexible or for lack, I mean, I guess that's the only word really you can use is really flexible and fluid, because no situation or no person, you can't handle certain people the same way you handle another person.
Yep.
That's something I've learned in my personal work life, being in upper levels of management. You can't talk, to one person the same as you talk to another, and especially if there's differences in position, you know. So that's
Hmm.
definitely good to hear that you're utilizing skills that you have and bringing those to the table, and it's also able to be displayed for other um, officers that we have within the community, not only in just CR. I'm sure you're around the other divisions and chats and such, so I'm sure it shows there too. So the influence carries.
You've said quite a few times so far tonight that there's a lot of delegating. There's a lot of delegating tasks, responsibilities, so on and so forth. I just wanted to kind of ask, do you have any new projects, any new initiatives that you haven't seen before? Now that you're at this, div lead spot, there's a lot more, I want to say, opportunities that you can pretty much do something different. Do you have anything that you can think of that would make CR kind of stand out from any other division?
Yes, I'm glad you talked about that. Honestly, I'm honestly pleased that you talked about that because my div staff and I have been working. I think like this is the third week now. We're finally implementing things that we wanted to do in the past, but we weren't able to do because of the higher leadership above. But now we have that. We're good to do these things. So I can't talk about them, but it's it's honestly an amazing thing. And here, I think I want to say in about a week or so, it's finally going to be pushed out. We absolutely have been working on things for the better. It's going to be amazing. But like I said, I can't talk.
Hmm. Okay. So then just to kind of follow off of that, how do you balance like short-term goals and long-term kind of strategic planning when it comes to these new initiatives that you are going to implement?
So for short-term goals, like initiating things, like on the spot kind of things, right? It's a lot of how can we fix this? For lack of better terms, right? Short-term goals for us at least are kind of like, I wouldn't say issues, but kind of like obstacles in CR that we want to get rid of. Everything that my dev staff and I have been working on are absolutely 100% all long term. As far as long term, as in like until we obviously split CR again. But as far as short term goals, um, like I was saying, it's a lot of obstacles that the squads face, and we want to get rid of that issue as best as possible. You know what I'm saying? As everything that my dev staff and obviously like all the squad leaders strive to do is all long term. Whenever CR splits again, we want to continue these goals and aspirations that we all have. So, in all, I wouldn't even call it goals. I would call it implementations. In a sense, that's all I have about that.
Okay, well, good thing that you brought that up because I just want to come back around to the question that we gave you some extra time to think about because now it's again, how do you encourage the innovation and creativity within the community and how do you implement that?
Okay, now that I have some time to think about it, going back to like these weekly div wide game nights and these squad meetings, every person has a voice, and that's their chance to finally come out and say what they want, not only for the members but for the cadets, these officers that have these trainings, and they finally have a visualization of what this community is about, and then their mindset actually opens up. And I think I said this on the last podcast I was in, but the higher rank you go, the better visualization you have of the community as a whole, and the more you can finally start actioning on the things that you want. And for the basic members, it's your officers that are the ones responsible for making sure that the people, like what the people want, is happening. But if the people themselves don't come out and say anything, then how are we able to actually, action on the things they want if they don't say anything? Like we have to, give everyone an opportunity. But if you don't say anything, like I said, we can't help you. It's the squad leader's responsibility, right? It's the squad leader's responsibility to make sure that if people do have an opinion, they speak out. Now, the way that we implement it is, like I said, the higher rank you are, the more things you can get accomplished. If a basic member wants something to happen, they'll go to the officer. The officer will go to the senior officer will go to the squad leader will come to the leaders meeting and speak these things. And then I will 100% almost always guarantee you that that thing will happen because everyone has a voice. Now, the only time that it won't happen is if there's an obvious reason. That's how we get
Basically within
initiated.
reason.
Yeah. A lack of better terms, yes. But the but if you don't speak, then like I said, you can't get anything done if you don't speak on it. But it's everyone's mindset always opens up whenever they start rising through the ranks. Like I said, because everyone, you know, you'll get a bigger perspective on things whenever you start ranking up.
All right. Definitely a lot of good stuff tonight. From your point of view and from splitting CR to SR, from just your experience in general on that path to the progress going forward, your ideas, your thoughts. It's definitely been a absolute pleasure to get to sit down and have this conversation with you in that regard of the split. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kind of wind it down. Thank you for allowing us this time with you.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I look forward to you. Uh, well, I mean, I won't get to see kind of what you're, what you're going to put into place in CR, but I'm sure that hopefully it'll trickle down, and it's a great idea, and other squads and other divisions will be able to follow suit.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you again for being here, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. That is the conclusion of the Channel 7 News podcast covering the CR-SR split.